Come on in, Facebook, come on in, YouTube. Getting ready to start my show called Jimmy Rants over on Instagram. Got a great show in store here today. Probably going to get pretty fired up on this one today. So we do call this show Jimmy Rants for a reason. We may go into full-on rant mode today because there's some really disturbing things happening right now with things people are saying online to anyone talking about this race stuff. And so I definitely want to get into that here today. What's up, Norma? What's up, Shirley? My two regulars, Norma on Facebook and Shirley over on YouTube, are here first. So thank you guys for always being here. Really, really appreciate your support of Jimmy Rants. What's up, David? Hello, Kathy Nichols. What's going on, girl? And Tracy's here. We're getting ready to start Jimmy Rants, you guys, probably in about 3 minutes, but I want to speak a little bit from my heart. I always do this when I come on early with you guys. I am so disturbed by the tone that I'm seeing out there from certain people, and it's really bad here on Facebook, where you make any kind of statement as it relates to this whole race relations thing, and they bite your head off like, how dare you encompass my space with this nonsense? And it's just, it's getting kind of nauseating. And the funniest thing is, well, I'm not a racist, and so I don't understand why this needs to be brought up. But they don't realize that by saying those statements, I'm going to get into this on my Jimmy Rants today, but I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek. They don't realize by saying those things that they are perpetuating the very problem that we're trying to point out here. What's up, Renee? Hello, Nancy. Hello, Christy. So, yeah, I'm giving you guys a little mini rant before we get to the main show here today, but that's just been disgusting to me. And I think I'm going to start working on a meme that will basically point out, if you think you're not racist and you're saying these things, you're still a racist. And of course, that's a harsh thing for a white person to hear, to be called a racist. And so, but I'm trying to get people's attention because I don't think enough people are taking this seriously. And those people, I get a lot of them because I have a lot of keto groups. And a lot of the keto groups are like, I thought this was a keto group. You need to take your political positions out. And I'm always going, what political position did I take? Like, I literally haven't said anything about a politician or anything. Well, I don't think you need to be talking about race. This has nothing to do with keto. Stick to the issues. Stay in your lane. You're so misinformed. I'm like, screw you. The moment we stop, and I told you I was going to get in rant mode, and I'm not even on my show yet. The moment we stop acknowledging that this is an everything topic right now. Keto don't matter. Fasting don't matter. None of this stuff matters if we don't talk about something that's very serious in our country. And so I'm talking about it. And I'll be frank with you. I've lost some followers over on Instagram. I'm sure I've lost some on Facebook. And I did notice I had a little bit of a dip in my subscribers on YouTube, but now it's back up again. So I don't care, to be honest. I think we need to be talking about these things, which is why I'm using my voice, my platform. I know my heart, and my heart is for people. And I want people to be loved regardless of the color of their skin, which is why I keep talking about this topic. So I've got a really great one here today. Thank you for letting me mini rant here. That's not on the show, so you guys got a little bit of a bonus. I'll probably echo some of those same sentiments on the main show. Hello, T. Hello, Judy. Hello, Andre. All right, getting ready to start my show, and here we go. So why are white people silent about these race relations issues? We're going to talk about that here today on Jimmy Rants. Click on that little box down in the corner and watch this on replay on IGTV. JimmyRants.com is the website. And as always, you can engage live in the content, but you got to go follow me. I'm over on Instagram. I am at Living Low Carb Man, LIVIN LOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can engage live. and enjoy the show. We try to go Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, pretty much always. Sometimes I'll throw in a 5 p.m. Eastern during the week. And sometimes on the weekends, I just decide to come live at a random time on videos. So tune in. We love it when you're here. We also simulcast live over here on my Facebook page. So what's up, guys? Thanks for being here today. And then finally, don't forget about your YouTube stream. Thank you for being here on my YouTube live stream as well. The whole Jimmy Rants family, thank you for being here today. If you missed the live here on Instagram, you can watch it on IGTV on replay. We also put the past episodes up over on YouTube. Just type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants, you'll find the show. And then finally, jimmyrants.com is the official website for this show. And while you're there, you can see all the past episodes. But if you like what we do here and you want to help support it, we have no sponsors. You're my sponsor. So if you feel like you get good content out of what I do here on this show, click on the Patreon link, and any donation that you give would be greatly appreciated. Okay, guys, before we start the show, because I got a really good talker today, I want to tell you to go and listen to today's episode of the Live a Low Carb Show. So that's my podcast. I've been out there for about 15 years podcasting and talking about low carb and nutrition and health and all kinds of subjects. Today, I believe, is the most important interview I've ever done in my whole career, because I got to talk with a great friend of mine, and he's been on the show before back in 2018 when I was trying to reach out to the African-American Black community with the message of keto. I thought, how do we get this message into a population who is ravaged by obesity and diabetes and heart disease and more? So I found this guy named Ron Garrett. If you don't know who Ron Garrett is, he goes by Big Black here on Instagram. I believe if you just type in Ron Garrett in a search, Garrett, you'll find him. And then over here, he's Big Black Ron Garrett on Facebook. But a wonderful, wonderful human being. Lost a lot of weight on keto. And so that's how we connected. So when all this race relations stuff started happening, I said, Ron, dude, let's talk. Let's just have a friend-to-friend, heart-to-heart, where we're dead honest about what's going on in our country and race relations. He's like, absolutely. So yesterday, we recorded it right here from Jimmy Rant's studio. And if you go over to YouTube, I threw it up. You can watch the video of the two of us side by side talking about this subject of race. So it's up there right now over on YouTube. When today's show, go and watch that bonus episode, the Jimmy Rants bonus episode. But it also is the episode we aired today on the Live and La Vida Low Carb Show. So lvlc.com or wherever you listen to podcasts, go look up the Live and La Vida Low Carb Show so you can hear me and Ron Garrett talk about race relations. But guys, this is the topic du jour, and I got to tell you, I am incredibly disappointed in a lot of people in the white community right now. And I'm just going to be raw and real with you guys here today, because that's what you expect from me all the time. I cannot believe the number of people who have railed against me for daring to talk about this in the white community. And they're like, you know what? You're way outside of your lane. You know, talking about this subject. There's not really a racism problem in America. This is just being stirred up to blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking of making like a little meme soon of, if you think you're not racist, but you're saying the following things, you're racist. Because there's so many like little things being put out there. And I get it. People have their beliefs. People have their conspiracy theories. But look at the heart of the people talking about this subject right now. Do you believe they're coming at it with ill intentions? Okay, some people think that. Other people also think, well, you're getting bamboozled by a bigger picture here, that you're not quite seeing all the angles and you're so misinformed and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's upsetting, because I think at the end of the day, I think it behooves all of us to want to resolve the race relations issues. And it behooves all of us to recognize that the black community has felt oppressed. I think the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, if nothing else, has brought it on the radar screen for white people for the very first time in our lives just how good we've had it compared to our brothers and sisters in the black community. We have to acknowledge that. Like, who is so heartless to think that, well, we're all free, we're all in this country together, slavery was in the past, the civil rights in the late 60s, we're all good now, right, bro? And yet we're not. And it's obvious we're not. And of course, as soon as you start talking about this issue, people are like, well, leave the politics out. I don't need to hear your politics. There's no political message there. I'm not mentioning any candidate. I'm not mentioning any government official. I'm not mentioning any platform per se, although some people do infuse race into politics. This is not about politics. It's about human rights. It's about caring for what's right and standing up for what's right. Like, am I going crazy? Talking about a human rights issue is somehow controversial, is somehow not worthy of discussion? Guys, this is disgusting me to no end, the obfuscation of what we're actually talking about. And I get the frustration on a very small scale. I'm getting the frustration that the black community has put up with for years and decades. They feel like they have said all of these messages, and yet it's the twisting and the misinterpretation of what those words mean. It's happening even now, even as we're having the Great Awakening, where people are realizing just how much we let things go because culturally it was acceptable to do so. And now you point those cultural things out as being wrong, and you're getting knee-jerk, 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 knee-jerk. Go listen to that interview with Ron today. I think it's going to open your eyes to some realities about what it's like for him. He's 53 now, and what it was like for him growing up as a black man in Alabama. And some of the things he saw, oh yeah, he came across the KKK a few times. And that's very real. And how he was taught to hate white people growing up. And that was very real. And people that can't recognize that we're not that far removed from slavery, I know it's been 150 years ago, but in the grand history of the world, 150 years ago was not that long ago. And 50, 60 years ago was the civil rights movement. We have work to do. But I have an article today. Sorry for that little mini rant at the beginning of this, but this is Jimmy Rants. This is what I do. But I have an article that talks about silence from the white community. And I think there's several reasons why the white community has been silent, and I will definitely give my commentary while I read this. But I think the time is now for good and noble white people to use your voice, speak up about race, and to stop hiding behind these hidden prejudices that we didn't know we had. And I was telling Ron yesterday in our conversation, I said, I have been a part of many a conversation where people were talking, white guys all in a circle, or white family members. And as soon as they start talking about a black guy, you had to whisper, as if whispering made it better. He said, oh yeah, we did that to you white people too. But it just became such a part of our culture. Well, you knew it was wrong. The inherence of you whispering told everybody that you knew it was wrong what you were doing, and yet we still did it. And it's those kinds of tendencies that I'm trying to open people's eyes to now. And it's why we need to be having these conversations. I'll tell you, I was just watching, and I forget his name, and I apologize in advance, but he's talking about uncomfortable conversations with a black man. And it's this very amazing guy who is using his platform to kind of speak truths about some of the things that are happening within this conversation of race relations. And the one I watched today was with Matthew McConaughey, the actor, the white actor, and all right, all right, all right, all right. So he and this gentleman had a nice conversation, bringing up various little issues in here in this discussion. Fascinating. Go look them up. It was on IGTV. I'm sure they put it on YouTube, but it's definitely on IGTV. Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. You should be able to find it on IGTV. But wow, I mean, all of these issues that are coming up that for the first time in a lot of white people's lives, we're just finding out about. I'm 48 years old. Some things I've found out in the past 2-3 weeks, I have never heard in my whole life. And of course, I hear on radio all the time, well, white people need to stand up and speak out. But then in the very next breath, white people, you ain't got no business in this conversation. Shut up. So do we speak up or do we shut up? And I think that is what is driving what we're going to talk about here today. Silence that's happening. So let me read from this article. This is from CBS News. White silence on social media. Why not saying anything is actually saying a lot. I hate that headline because the headline is pretending like white people are being silent because they want to be racist still. I think a lot of what's happening right now, and definitely we'll get into it as we read the story, I think a lot of what is paralyzing white people from talking about this is the fear of saying the wrong thing and offending even more, right? Isn't that why a lot of people aren't talking? It's also, you don't feel like you have anything of value to add. What Ron and I talked about was, okay, white person, if you want to engage, you should. Number one, please get out there. Please start talking about this in an open and honest way. But if you don't feel like you know what to say, then don't say anything. Ask questions. You know, it's breaking my heart what's happening in America right now, and I'm very open to wanting to learn, very open to wanting to help be a part of the solution and not continuing to exacerbate the problems. And then ask your questions that are deep inside your heart. Do you know how many people would start opening up to you? Do you know what a beautiful conversation would ensue simply by asking questions? So I don't like the headline that CBS News used on this. White silence on social media, why not saying anything is actually saying a lot. And the implication is you're being quiet because you're silently racist. And I don't believe that. Are there racist white people? Absolutely. Are there racist black people? Absolutely. Let's not pretend like that's not true. And there will always be those people. But I think most of us are in the middle. We're silent because we don't know what to say. So let's read this article. Black people across the country have taken to the streets and to their social media feeds to plead through protests that Black Lives Matter, that enough is enough. But amidst all the noise and all the hashtags, many say there's nothing quite as deafening as white silence. Now, we need to stop assuming that people are being silent because they agree with what's been happening. I think that's an assumption that we need to push to the side. Think about it from the perspective of a white person. If you're a black person and you're hearing me talk about this, think about it from the perspective of a white person. We've just been told that you have been oppressed all throughout your history. And of course, you might think, well, of course white people know that. They know it on an intellectual level, but they're just now feeling it on an emotional level. Oh my God, like I never realized. And again, that sounds preposterous, but that's what's happening. So white people are kind of going, why do I feel guilty? Why do I have such shame about this? And so that shame and that guilt is keeping them quiet. Then you have other white people that are friends of those white people speaking out online, and guess what happens to them? They get attacked viciously. It happened to Jimmy Moore a couple weeks ago. It happened. And I put out there what I thought was pretty good messages. And of course, I had not quite learned all the nuance of the language of it. And I got attacked. Nobody was educating me. They were just attacking me. Oh, you're racist, you're horrible, you're tone deaf, you need to shut up, you're misinformed, blah, 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 blah. And nobody was telling me what I did wrong. And there's people that observed that. And I had several white people after I started that said, and this is why I'm not talking. This is why I'm staying silent, because I don't want all that coming on me. And you're more famous than I am online. I just don't want that. And so that's why people have been silent in the white community. And they have to know this, that some of this pressure is coming from not wanting to get attacked, not wanting to say the wrong thing and offend even more. It's very real. Because for all the people who have flooded social media about George Floyd or any of the others who have died and become victims, countless heartbreaking personal anecdotes of racism are out there. There are just as many, and possibly even more, who have borne witness to the pain in the black community and then chosen to say nothing. I wonder how many white people actually have borne witness to the pain in the black community. I have worked in some inner city missions here in my hometown of Spartanburg, South Carolina. I have been to the projects. And those kids, and hearing the stories. Oh yeah, we had a drive-by shooting last night. I'm like, what? Like, it's a whole nother culture that is an eye-opener for a lot of us white people. But I don't think a lot of white people do know all the pain that's going on and borne witness to the pain that's going on in the black community. So they're saying nothing because they don't know. And I think this is another problem in this discussion about race relations. There's a whole lot of assumptions happening right now. People are assuming that you already have knowledge about things. People are assuming that you're coming at this from their perspective of the angle they see and think you are. In fact, I just had it happen today. There was a black woman here on Facebook who thinks all of this race stuff is just bogus. It's just being stirred up for no good reason, and you don't need to be talking about it. And we're not oppressed, blah 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 blah. And that was her perspective. But she assumed, and she said something about, well, I'm not for the police department shutting down. I'm not for the looting and da 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 da. And I wrote her back and I said, I'm not for the police department shutting down either. I'm not for the looting either. But she had that assumption about me simply because I was talking about this subject. And I'm going, no, no, no. Let's hear what people are actually saying, not what you believe them to be saying. And I think that phrase Black Lives Matter has that effect on people as well. When you say that phrase Black Lives Matter, it goes one of two ways. Immediately people go, oh yeah, black people are oppressed, and so their lives matter. We need to be focusing on them and helping to end the racial division. That's how one segment of the population hears that phrase, Black Lives Matter. Another segment says, Black Lives Matter. No, all lives matter. No, this is just a Democrat conspiracy to get Donald Trump out of the office in November, and you're being bamboozled, you're being fooled into belief. And therein lies the division. Therein lies the very thing that we're going to have to overcome in trying to communicate this message and realize that there's going to be people that have that belief. Now, how do you reach that person? I don't know. They're so deeply rooted in their belief. And yet that's a belief that's out there. Broadway star Jelani Aladdin says, this is all incredibly hurtful, talking about white people not speaking up on social media. You're telling me that you have no hesitation to post a selfie of yourself or what you're eating for dinner, and yet you're telling me that you're afraid to say something because you might hurt other people's feelings, or you don't know what to say, or you don't have an audience to reach. Were you thinking those things when you posted all the other photos? I don't think you were. We need a little more grace about it than this Broadway star, which, with all due respect, Jelani Aladdin, I don't think she realizes how paralyzing talking about race is. And quite frankly, guys, I have a huge platform across all of the things that I do. I was a little concerned to start speaking out because I was concerned, okay, maybe some people will drop off, and I have had some people drop off. I lost a couple hundred followers on Instagram, and it started to build back up. I haven't noticed on Facebook, and then on YouTube I lost about 100, but those have already come back. So when you start speaking out, you're going to have certain people that will have that knee-jerk reaction. Unfollow. Okay, great. Bye, Felicia. But you can't be afraid. And of course, you guys know I don't live in fear. I speak very boldly all the time. I come on this show every single day, pretty much pissing off somebody. But that's no concern of mine when I'm speaking truth and speaking from my heart. See, a lot of people have said, oh, you've been forced into talking about this issue, and I wish you wouldn't fall for it. It's just a grand scheme. And I'm like, look, I don't say things willy-nilly. I only speak from my heart and speak from what is to Jimmy Moore. And I hold true to that inner voice that tells me this is the right thing to do. And right now, to me, this is the only thing to do. I'm still talking about keto and fasting and all the other stuff that I do, but I'm infusing in this content about race relations because, quite frankly, we need to be having these conversations. And this Broadway star that says, oh, I hate it that all you white people posting selfies and your food photos and all this stuff, and you have no problem doing that. Now, you don't because you're scared of hurting people and their feelings, and you're too afraid of what to say. You don't know what to say. You don't have a big enough audience. She's saying, talk anyway. And I think that's the bottom line. Can I just behoove? The time is now for good and noble white people to speak up on race. I know this has been the shh topic for so long. Don't talk about politics, religion, or race. But it's time we talk about race. It's in vogue to talk about race, so you can talk about it now a little more than you probably ever have in your entire life. Can I tell you how liberating it has been for me to be listening and watching and hearing and engaging with people of color unlike any other time in my life? And I am being reminded of some just things in my past that I go, oh my gosh, there it is. There's where some of that kind of rooted belief took place. And then I remember imageries like what I posted the other day all over social media with Mr. Rogers and Officer Clemens and bringing him to wash his feet and cool off his feet in the pool. How monumental that was in race relations. That was 1969 that happened. I wasn't even born yet. And here we are, all these years later, still fighting the same fight. Do you wonder why we still have this issue? We have this issue because we've never addressed it before. So how about we start addressing it, and that starts with white people standing up and speaking up. And I know we're getting mixed messages. Speak up. Shut up. But I think the overall message is speak up. And if you say the wrong thing, ask for forgiveness and ask questions. We don't need to be afraid to be offended. We don't need to be afraid to say the wrong thing. We just need to be afraid of keeping our big mouths shut. Because silence is not the answer. Conversation is. Social media silence is nuanced. There are people who speak have simply gone dark. You know some people in your life on Instagram, right here, on Facebook, and like YouTube content providers. I'm sure across the board have some people that you follow that have just not said anything about anything. It's almost as if this stunned them into silence about everything. There are people who, as Aladdin notes, have continued posting things like selfies and food pictures as if nothing is wrong. And again, that's putting off the perception of, okay, all this you know what is going on in our world, and yet you're going to tell me about the latest recipe you developed? Or look at these muffins I created just out of almond flour and eggs? So you can see it from that perspective. Okay, you're going to write about that, but you're not going to say anything about this. And again, I am a predominantly nutritional health content provider. You should see the number of people that have chastised me to stay in your lane. Shut up about all this race stuff. Why are you so political? I'm unfollowing, which I just go, see ya. And I'm just thinking to myself, hey, we have voices. Last time I checked, I'm not a keto robot. I'm a human being. And you're a pretty heartless human being if you are choosing to look the other way at this conversation. Honestly, guys, this is the conversation of our lifetime. And if we don't deal with this in 2020, do you think in 2021, 2022, 2027, 2040, this is going to go away on its own? No. Now, at the same time, eyes wide open, knowing that there's people who will try to take advantage of this for their own personal agenda. I get that. People just act like, oh, you've been bamboozled, you're falling into their trap. I'm like, I am not stupid. I'm doing this with the right motive in my heart of what I'm doing and why I'm saying the things I'm saying. I realize there are people on both sides of this issue that are trying to take advantage of it for whatever their reasons. That is of no consequence to me. Caring about people who have been oppressed and feel like they have not gotten a fair shake in our society in the United States of America is my number one priority in being vocal about this right now. That's it. As fitness influencer Tremel Logan told CBS News, it can even be hurtful when white people post messages about Black Lives Matter side by side with frivolous content. Now, I don't know how they define frivolous, other than maybe a selfie with your family. Would that be frivolous? I still post stuff about fasting and keto and my podcasts and all this stuff on my regular feed along with things that I do hashtag Black Lives Matter. Is that offensive that I do that? Should I only be talking about Black Lives Matter? No, I don't think I should. But mixing it into my content, I'm already getting complaints of people, is doing fasting and all the other things, and don't talk about this at all. I'm like, no, I'm weaving it in and out. And when you weave it in and out, it's a part of who you are. You know what is on the heart of somebody and what they care about by what they post on social media. So if you're a dog lover, I can tell it right away when I go to your Instagram page and I see dog, 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 selfie, dog, 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 selfie with dog. You can kind of see where people's hearts are based on what they put on their feed. And then that trend last week where everybody went dark on the one day, and the Blackout Tuesday, I believe it was last week, and these people posted just this blank black picture, and they put Black Lives Matter, remembering George Floyd. And it was all well and good, but what did it do? I mean, like, other than that post, white people, other than that post, what have you written about this subject? I would dare say most have done nothing. So Logan said, in your natural state of being distraught or sad, if something extremely personal happens to you, I can't see how you can be in that state and post about it or be about it, and then 5 minutes later post a cocktail mix or dancing. Our emotions don't necessarily work like that. So he's saying, okay, if you're going to post about Black Lives Matter, which is a very serious and personal thing for a lot of people, and then the next thing you know, you're doing a TikTok video and posting it, he's saying you're a little bit kind of blind to kind of the optics of that. Catherine Moran Ayini, who is an attorney in Texas, told CBS News that for her, worse than total silence is when people respond to a Black Lives Matter post with All Lives Matter, which I've talked about before, and she's going to give a comment about this. Yes, all lives matter, but right now, Black community house is the one on fire. And if my neighbor's house over there is on fire and the firefighter comes to put out that fire, I'm not going to go, well, wait a minute, my house matters too, and have them spray water on my house. My house isn't the one that's on fire. Theirs is. And that's how we need to remember why All Lives Matter is demeaning to the Black Lives Matter movement, because you're kind of diminishing the plight that they've gone through. Again, go listen to my podcast today with Ron Garrett on the Living La Vida Low Carb Show, llvlc.com. It's also as a Jimmy Rant episode over on YouTube. Go watch that. 65 minutes I talked to Ron. And then tomorrow, Dr. Will Cole and I have a show on Thursdays called Real Talk. When we created Real Talk, we had no idea we were going to do a whole episode about race relations in America. But here we are. We have a wonderful lady on tomorrow. I'm going to leave it as a surprise, but let's just say you're going to love this woman and the chat that we had her with her about this particular issue. All right, so that attorney in Texas who said she's disappointed when people write All Lives Matter, it's a very painful kind of silence because it just removes our voice. It doesn't allow us to express our very specific pain. No one would ever go to a breast cancer walk and criticize them for talking about breast cancer. You wouldn't walk up to someone who has experience as a breast cancer survivor or someone who's lost someone from breast cancer and say, how dare you talk about breast cancer? What about colon cancer? How dare you exclude all other cancers? And that's true. Rachel Lindsay, who famously broke barriers as the first black bachelorette, said she is taking note of which one of her white friends and public figures have gone completely silent at this time, and she believes that in this digital age, it is the duty of public figures to speak out. Guys, can I tell you, as someone, a very minor public figure in the grand scheme of things, but I have a following and I have people that follow me for my keto stuff, I did not feel compelled that I had to talk about this. I felt like it was my duty with the platform that I had to use my voice to speak up about something that I now have a much clearer understanding of. I think that's the thing here. It's like we both want people to speak up, but you want them to speak up knowing what they're talking about. Because when I first started speaking up, I had some of that, we're all in the human race, I'm colorblind, I don't see race, all of the messages that I now realize are incredibly demeaning and dismissive. Oh, I just found out today in that Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, that video, when I was watching it, I found out today that the black community does not like being called African American. They want to be called black. And the reason is a lot of them aren't from African descent. And they also don't acknowledge that they're from African descent because they had it stripped of them when they were made to be enslaved. I had no idea. I thought African American was the more proper way of addressing black people. But no, they said they want to be called black. They want people to see their skin color and realize that because of that skin color, they have more challenges in their life. And that's what this is all about. Ending that challenge simply because of the color of one's skin. So the black bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay, said, I'm not saying that you have to speak out and have this, whole spiel about Black Lives Matter. I'm not even necessarily saying that I need you to be posting anything, but at the bare minimum, a friend would reach out to another friend. How are you doing at this time? I'll admit that I've been silent. I'll admit that I've ignored some of the issues as a black woman, but I also want you to know that I'm your friend, and I see you and I hear you. I am paying attention to friends that aren't doing that. So if you have friends in your life of another color, have you reached out to them? I'll be the first to admit I have not, other than ones that I've invited on my podcast. I've not been as good at that as I should be, and I will be doing that more. I just think because the perception of silence is that you agree with the racism and the oppression and the social injustices that have been going on. I think that's the perception that's being communicated when you stay silent, white person. And you may not have that in your heart at all. You may be like, oh my gosh, it's just such an atrocity, what's happening. I feel so inadequate about what to say. But by you not saying anything, it's being perceived out there as you agree with how things have been. It's an eye-opener when you start thinking of it from that perspective. Ayeni is the mother of a 10-month-old son, and she says experiencing recent events through that lens has been viscerally painful. I look at my son and I see all of the people who have died, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin. I look at my son, I see countless others who were out living, existing, and treated as a threat. I can tell my child not to wear a hoodie all I want. I can put him in the best schools. I can ensure that he's respectful to other people. Sometimes it doesn't matter though. And that's very difficult as a mother to swallow, to understand that I can't protect him under certain circumstances from people who don't think he is human. We have to remember there was a time in our country when the Supreme Court of the United States of America declared black people as 3/5 human. We all learned about the Dred Scott decision. Now, they later overturned it, yes, but the Dred Scott decision was real. There was one point in American history, not that long ago, when black people were considered 60% humans. Now, take into you the reality of how black people feel oppression and feel that they have had a raw deal in this country. Maybe that starts to open your eyes. And we all learned that Dred Scott decision in our history books. We all had that lesson in high school. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't remember it fazing me that much. Okay, they were 3/5 human. Okay. It didn't dawn on me. And we had black students, our peers, friends in the classroom as that was being taught. And it's just now dawning on me, oh crap, what was that? And I made this point to Ron yesterday. It's almost as if today they're still not at 100% considered human by some people. They're still somewhere between that 60 and 100%. To me, that's disgusting. To me, that's why I'm speaking out. Every human being in the world is 100% human. Dehumanizing another human being simply because of the color of their skin? Really? Yeah, really. That's the reality. The phenomenon of white silence has existed for centuries, long before social media was around, but the rise in popularity of things like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram has only served to make its presence a lot more palpable. So yeah, when you get updates on a daily basis from family and people, and you're used to seeing all these updates and you're seeing all that's happening in everybody's world, and then suddenly you see all that's happening in everybody's world, but they're not talking about the race stuff that's obviously the topic du jour all across America right now, it speaks volumes, doesn't it? Savala Trebzitsky, the executive director at the Thelton E. Henderson Center for Social Justice at UC Berkeley, says white silence is incredibly powerful. It's not a neutral position. It actually acts like a weapon. It's not even being silent because it's speaking volumes, right? And the people who are around a silent white person, they hear the silence and they feel it. What they feel is, you don't have my back. Or, I don't care enough to get uncomfortable just to speak out. Or, you know, despite the fact that black and brown people have been acting up and protesting, I still don't quite get it enough to say anything. That last category is the one that gets me the most. Well, if they stop fighting and stop acting like a fool, maybe things would change. Yeah, get out of here. I will kick you right where the sun don't shine if I hear you say that to my face. Because that is a disgusting position to take. If we're going to get serious about race relations, we need to lay aside this whole assumptions and stereotypes and things that we have lived with for our entire lives. And I live in the southern United States. There are a lot of good old boys like to wave their Confederate flag, and they don't know how offensive that is to, and as a symbol, to the black community. We have been silent, and some people have been silent for all the wrong reasons. Others have been silent because they don't know what to say. Regardless of why you've been silent, if you've been silent, white person, it's time to speak up. It's time to start the conversation. And here's the thing, if you continue to not say anything, then you're basically telling black people, I don't care about you. You're still 3/5 human to me. I really don't care. I don't know what else a black person could conclude but that very thing if you don't say it. And we need to be speaking up. Many people in both the white and black communities agree that what drives the silence is fear, as I've been talking about here. Michelle Sahan, who runs an organization called From Privileges to Progress, they focus on desegregating the conversation around race. What drives the silence is the term that Robin DiAngelo coined called white fragility. So there is a book called White Fragility. And of course, knee-jerk reaction, same with like white privilege. A white person hears white privilege or white fragility and they have a knee-jerk reaction of, I'm not fragile, I'm not privileged. Listen to what it's about. It's about being scared of what your followers are going to say about you. I'm not, by the way. I lost a few. Good riddance. Separating the wheat from the chaff, as they always say, although I don't eat wheat, so That's being scared of you maybe saying the wrong thing, hurting the black or brown community. I know personally that I've had friends that didn't want to post on social media because they're way too scared of what a racist will say back to them. And to say that means you are more worried about what a racist person has to say than about doing the right thing. And in the end, that is complicity with the racism itself. Whoa. It's true. She said fear is very natural, so it's okay to feel the fear, white people. And you're going to have people in your friends and family and network of sphere of influence that aren't going to agree with you. But the first step is acknowledging that you just don't know. And that's where it comes back to asking those questions, like I did with that conversation with Ron Garrett yesterday. Acknowledge that you don't know what to say. Acknowledge that you have questions and that you're seeing people in pain. The worst thing that you can do is just ignore this and ignore the pain, because you're perpetuating it if you do. When you see someone on fire and you look the other way because it makes you uncomfortable, you are in that person being on fire, and social media feeds are not integrated, which means that stories the black community is posting will not necessarily reach white audiences until white people start posting them too. I posted today this wonderful lady on Instagram and all across my social media channels. Go look at it. But I posted, and it's a video that went viral of this beautiful woman that decided to speak directly to white women and said, here's how you're being racist and here's how you can fix it. And it went viral on IGTV. You can go look it up. And she has gotten 6 million views for that video. So yeah, she's getting the message out there. But I posted that on my feed today, and most of my followers on all of my social media are white people. And I had some people knee-jerk reaction. Why are you posting this crap? What does this have to do with keto? Stick to keto. Why are you becoming political and da 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 da? And I'm going, wait a minute. She has something of value to share, and I'm going to use my platforms to get that value out. Here's one thing you need to know about Jimmy Moore. I don't care what you think about what I should be. I'm going to be what I'm going to be. And if you don't agree with that, maybe you're not a part of my community. And you are free to leave. And I'm not afraid to lose people because of that position. But those of you that stick around, you got to know you got a man that has a heart for people. And I always will have a heart for people. I will always share directly from right there. And I think that's why a lot of you love me. Because I'm unafraid to say the things that other people are cowering in fear to say. And I always will be that way. She was the woman behind the viral video of two black men being arrested in Starbucks in 2018. That video, she says, went viral after a white woman shared it. So here's this woman that says, hey, look, we need to let white people see what we're doing so that they can help us get the message out. And that's exactly what happened for her. The reason that Starbucks video went viral was because a white woman had shared it, and her social media was very white. She didn't have that many friends of color, so all these white people were seeing video of racial discrimination that they normally would not have seen. So many people that live segregated lives but still go to Starbucks started saying, I can't believe that's going on and this is happening. And people of color were asking, well, where you been? You know, it's in our timelines every day. And here's another thing that I've heard. I listen to sports radio, and they've been talking a lot about the race relations things lately. Well, we've been talking about these things for years. I don't understand why people are so shocked and just now coming. And can I ask for grace there? Because no, we weren't there before, but we're there now. And yes, we can lament how long it took to get there, but we're there. And I think that's a turnoff to a lot of white people. Well, you're going to blast me because I didn't come soon enough, but I'm here now. Can we forgive that aspect of why it took so long and get to the main point of we're here, we're having the conversation, we're now engaged? Forgiveness will go a long way towards that. I would say find the action that fuels you. If that means there's a protest at 3 o'clock and you want to go, then go. If that means getting up and doing something as a protest in your own terms, do it. If that means donating to a cause that will support this Black community movement, do that. If that means speaking in your own words on your Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or other outlet as a way of getting the message out, do it. Stop hesitating. Stop thinking that you're going to get it wrong. There is no getting it wrong other than not doing anything at all. You just got to do it. So maybe you're one of those people who's been hesitant about posting. And I get it. I get it, fellow white person. It's risky. What will people think? And all I can say is stop caring what other people think when you know what you have to say is the right thing to do. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. I'm going to come over here to Instagram first, then over to Facebook, and finally to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for being here today on Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. And let's see what you guys have to say about this one here. Lots of people here. Don't be silent with Jimmy either. This is a safe space, I promise you. Rachel says, honestly, I have not speaking up enough. I will change that starting now. Rachel, no sense in feeling guilty. And I get it. Race has always been that thing we've swept underneath the rug. And white people are so inadequate about what to say and what to do. White Fragility. Read that book. I am in the midst of getting that book myself. But it's going to explain a lot of the things that we talked about here today. How a lot of this is just pride and denial that the white people have been showing. And it's unfortunate because I think we can all be a part of the great change if we did speak up and speak out. All right, thank you, Instagram. Let's pop over here to my Facebook channel. Why do I always say YouTube next? Maybe I should surprise you guys one day and come to YouTube. But Facebook, what's up, guys? Let's see what you have to say about this particular issue. Norma says, it's terrible here on Facebook. I'm only checking and doing birthdays and not much else. Same thing every day. If you post, you get your head bit off. So sad. And that's just the nature of the online world. So it's not like that's something brand new. And so it should not surprise us that when we start talking about something like race, which is a little more volatile of a subject, that same thing would go on. Doesn't make it right, but it does. It's nothing new is the point. But you're right. I'm seeing a degradation of conversations going on. And it's almost as if anybody writing about this in a way, anyway, whether you're anti doing something with this or pro doing something with this, everybody's kind of yelling at everybody. And I think that's what needs to end. But good people do not need to stay out of the conversation. We need to be having, at least from our perspective, civilized conversations. And if other people decide to be uncivil, that's on them. You stay true to who you are. Nancy says, I loved your interview with Big Black Ron Garrett. I hope I got his name right. You did. Didn't know you were going to talk about him. I watched it last night. His honesty and openness was very about Ron Garrett. Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, if you missed that, it is now up on YouTube as a Jimmy Rants bonus episode. So if you go to youtube.com/livinlowcarbman, LIVINLOWCARBMAN, or just type in the keyword Jimmy Rants, it'll take you to my channel. Look up my interview with Big Black Ron Garrett. It was about 65 minutes long. We did it right here at Jimmy Rant Studios just yesterday afternoon. And so it's there now. It's also airing today on the Livin' La Vida Low Carb Show podcast, LLVLC.com. Tracy says, I have tried to speak up for what's happening, defending the black community. I get told, shut up, you cracker, by some blacks, and that I don't know what I'm talking about by whites. Why can't I care about treating all humans with kindness and love? Is disheartening. Well, you can, Tracy. When you have those kinds of people come on your page, can I encourage you, if you get that kind of vehement reaction from people, I don't care who they are, that is your opportunity to weed out the weirdos. That is your opportunity to get rid of the racists on both sides. Block delete is your friend. And that might hurt, especially if it's people that are close to you, especially if it's people maybe even in your own family. If they're going to be that ugly publicly on a social media page because you're trying to help be a part of the solution to a very serious problem, maybe they don't deserve to engage on your page. You ever stop to think about that? Kira says, when my son was 4 years old, he ran up to two other boys playing. One of them was white, one was black, and he asked them, are you two brothers? Based on the fact that they were having fun and about the same age and height. I so love that. Yeah, kids. And I saw a viral video online of this little bitty, probably 2-year-old white boy seeing his best friend, who was a 2-year-old black boy, and he went running up to him and loving all over him, and they were holding hands and running down the street. They're oblivious to this racial crap. And they don't know they're supposed to hate each other because culture and society tells us that we're supposed to hate each other. I really think and wish that we could get to that childlike innocence, Kira, because it's pure. That's what humanity is about. A 2-year-old white boy doesn't see color in a 2-year-old black boy and vice versa. They just see, that's my buddy, and it makes them happy. Nancy says, my concern is how we move from protest to progress. It's going to take work and persistence. Oh, I'm not kidding myself, Nancy. I know this is going to be a long road to recover from, and there's going to be a lot of discussions, but my hope and my optimism about this is we have the conversation happening. Because forever we've wanted conversation, but the conversations weren't happening. Now it looks like they're happening. And when all this kind of dust settles from everybody talking about it right now, I hope people keep talking about it. because it won't just go away on its own. This is what white people have tried to do for years. Oh, ignore it and it'll go away. Ignore it and it'll go away. Ignore it and it'll go away. Guess what? Has it gone away? No. So I really hope now more than ever before this does get resolved. Jean Marie says, thank you for speaking up. We will need to be not be overly concerned about our feelings of discomfort with these issues. Listen empathetically and speak from the heart. That's my jam, Jean Marie. And I will continue to speak from my heart. And quite frankly, I don't care who it pisses off. Because I know Jimmy Moore. I know who I am at my core. And I try to be a human being at my core. All right, thank you, Facebook. Let's see what YouTube has to say about this one. Hello, Karen. Shirley says, I'm not a very outspoken person, so I haven't said too much, but I don't post much on social media anyway. I'm sure I've been judged for that. I just don't have much to say that hasn't already been said. Say it anyway, Shirley. Say it anyway. Let me encourage you. You don't have much to say because, well, everybody else has said it. Can I tell you, I host a podcast about low carb and health. Are there other low carb and health podcasts out there? You bet there are. We all have our voice, and we need to let that voice be heard, even if it's been heard from other people. Laura says, I always speak up when people spew racist things around me. I lost a couple of friends due to their bigoted husbands. It is a cause I'm willing to lose friends over. I don't want racist friends. You are one of the noble people in the world. Not many people would do that. Tina says, I'm glad you're bringing this topic up. I'm a black female, has followed you off and on for years. Well, Tina, thank you for supporting me for so long. I say a prayer every time my 24-year-old son leaves the house that he will return home safely. I live in Atlanta, and that has the biggest mess right now with the voting and stuff. Yeah, I saw that in the news today. Sing less of me. Keto says, thank you for being fearless and using your platform, even at your own peril. As an AA, your impassioned talk makes me weep. You get it. I've loved and followed you since Living La Vida Low Carb forever. Well, thank you. Guys, there's nothing special about Jimmy Moore. I am simply someone who's finally come to the conclusion that right is right and wrong is wrong. And what we have done to the African American community in our country is decidedly wrong. That's not a political statement to make, it's just fact. All right. This is a lot to take in, and I realize it can be very emotional for people, but imagine, white person, how emotional you are, how emotional this has been to the black person that has lived with this their entire lives. Let's start having a heart for them. And when you start putting on their heart in your own heart, that's when you're going to feel this. And that's when you will be compelled to start speaking up and speaking out. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. And as always, you can engage live in the content, but you got to go follow me right here, Instagram at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, engage live. We also simulcast over here on my Facebook page, so thank you guys for being here, as well as over on my YouTube channel and on the live stream there. So thank you all for being here today on Jimmy Rants. If you missed the live here on Instagram, we do put it up on IGTV, so go check out the replay there. We also put the replay over on YouTube. Just type in a keyword Jimmy Rants. You will find the show, and don't forget on YouTube, had that bonus episode with Ron Black talking about this subject of race relations. Finally, go to JimmyRants.com. That's the official website where we keep all the past episodes. And if you like what we do here, you're not afraid to listen and hear all the things that I have to share about a lot of things, go to JimmyRants.com, click on the Patreon link, and throw a few pennies our way if you think I'm giving you value in your life. All right, guys, that's it for now. Let me pop off of here, and we'll be back again real soon. Bye. All right. Jimmy Rants done. I am just so amazed and at the same time, a little bit dismayed by just the negativity about just talking about this. It almost reinforces that concept of racism being so prevalent. Because people, oh, I'm not racist. I wish you'd stop calling me racist. I'm not racist. And I'm going, okay, so where are you talking about this? Well, I don't need to talk about it. Move on. Stick to keto. Okay, I'm going to talk about keto too. I'm going to talk about I did a whole week of fasting last week. But I'm talking about this too. Can we not integrate this into the conversation of what we're talking about? And no, I'm not a black person in America. I don't know what that feels like. But I can put myself, as much as I can, in their shoes and go, oh my gosh, look what we've done. Look how we have let them down by our inaction. So I think it's time to add a little action. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So, all right, let me pop off from here. Got a few things I need to do today, but always a pleasure to hang out with you guys here on the show. And yeah, tell people they need to be speaking up, because we do. All of us do. All right, let me get off here for now. We'll see you again soon, guys. Bye.